Imagine for a moment a life not yet lived, but already yours, vivid, real, and pulsing with the energy of your deepest desire. Picture it so clearly that the line between your dream and reality blurs until the world itself bends and reshapes to reflect that inner vision. This is not fantasy. This is the sacred art of creation, the divine gift nestled in the heart of your imagination. I stand before you not as one who has merely wished for a better life, but as one who has lived it inwardly until it blossomed outwardly, until the unseen became the seen. The secret is this: your imagination is God walking within you. And it is by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled that you become the master of your destiny. From the moment I understood this truth, everything changed. I no longer waited for signs or proof from the outer world. I ceased to argue with appearances, and instead focused on the feeling of the end I desired. Each night before sleep, I entered the scene of my fulfilled desire. I imagined myself living in that dream home, walking with the confidence of success, breathing the air of accomplishment. I embraced that feeling with such vividness and faith that it consumed my waking thoughts. I was not imagining a possibility. I was living my reality within the sanctuary of my mind. And as I persisted, the world conspired to match my inner state. I learned that imagination is the workshop where reality is crafted. It is not merely idle daydreaming, but a deliberate act of creation. When you live in the end, you erase doubt and hesitation. You place your faith not in the chaotic evidence of the senses, but in the unshakable certainty of your imagined seeing. The key is to feel the reality of your desire now, with every fiber of your being, as if it were already yours. This feeling transforms your consciousness and calls forth its physical counterpart. The universe, obedient to your inner state, will inevitably manifest what you assume and persist in. The transformation was neither sudden nor magical in the way many expect. It was a natural unfolding, a gentle alignment of my outer world with the reality I had faithfully lived within. My imagination reshaped my identity. I became the person who already owned what I sought. I acted, spoke, and moved as though my dream life was the natural order of things. And in time, the external world responded with unmistakable clarity. Doors opened, opportunities appeared, and obstacles dissolved. This is the law of assumption in motion. By living as if your desire is fulfilled, you invite that very fulfillment into existence. So I encourage you, do not merely wish or hope. Do not measure your worth by the evidence of your senses. Instead, craft the scene of your fulfilled desire, embody it fully, and live in the conviction that it is your present reality. Your imagination is the seed, the soil, and the gardener of your future. Nourish it with faith and watch as your dream life unfolds effortlessly before your eyes. Within each human being lies a power so profound, so intimate, that it is often overlooked or dismissed as mere fantasy. This power is imagination, the sacred faculty through which creation flows, the divine force that shapes every experience, every circumstance, and every form that manifests in your life. To grasp this power is to awaken to the truth that you are not a passive observer of your world, but the active creator, the architect of your reality. Imagination is not simply a tool for dreaming or wishing. It is the very essence of life itself, the living, breathing force that animates your being and brings the invisible into form. Consider that everything you see, everything you touch, and everything you experience first existed as an idea in someone's mind. The chair you sit on, the house you live in, the love you cherish, each was once a seed of imagination before it became a physical fact. This reveals a universal principle. All that manifests in the outer world begins within the inner realm of thought and feeling. Your imagination is that inner workshop, the unseen studio where the blueprint of your life is drawn and perfected before it steps into the stage of reality. But what is often misunderstood is that this creative faculty is not limited to mere pictures or mental images. Imagination is an act of feeling and consciousness, a living, vibrant state in which you live and breathe the reality you desire. When you imagine, you do not merely see an image, you enter into it, you become it. and you feel its truth as deeply as if it were already present in your life. This feeling, this inner conviction, is the power that moves mountains and rearranges the circumstances of your existence. You are not simply daydreaming when you engage this power correctly. Instead, you are tapping into the root of all manifestation, the assumption of the state of being that corresponds to your desire. This assumption is not a wishful hope, but a firm and unshakable certainty. It is a knowingness that your desire is already fulfilled, that it is an unalterable fact within the realm of your consciousness. This is the pivotal shift from longing and wanting to living in the reality of having. Once this shift occurs, your imagination ceases to be a passive function and becomes the dynamic force that shapes your world. This process requires discipline and faith. The senses by nature report the current state of affairs, which may seem contrary to your desire. However, these outer circumstances are only a reflection of your prevailing inner state. To change the world around you, you must first change the world within. You must persist in dwelling in the imagined state until it hardens into fact, until your consciousness is so saturated with the feeling of your fulfilled desire that no contrary evidence can sway it. This persistence is not stubbornness, but a creative insistence, a faithful cultivation of your inner reality. It is through this unwavering faith in the unseen that the imagination acts as God within you. God is often spoken of as an external force, but the reality is that this creative energy flows through your very consciousness. Imagination is the link between the infinite and the finite, the divine and the human. It is the power by which you draw upon the limitless potential of the universe and channel it into the form you choose. When you embrace this power, you step into your rightful role as a co-creator with the cosmos, no longer subject to chance or circumstance, but empowered by your own inner vision. This truth elevates imagination from a trivial pastime to a sacred duty. It calls you to take responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions, recognizing that these are the seeds from which your future experiences will grow. Every moment you imagine with feeling, you send out a creative impulse that shapes the coming days and years. Your imagination is the soil in which the garden of your life is planted. It requires nourishment in the form of faith, focus, and emotion to bring forth the harvest you desire. To harness this power fully, you must cultivate the skill of vivid, sensory-rich imagination. It is not enough to vaguely think about what you want, you must live it internally with detail and intensity. Imagine the sights, sounds, smells, and sensations associated with your desire as if you were already immersed in that reality. Feel the joy, the peace, the satisfaction, as if there is no difference between your imagination and your present moment. This feeling is the magnet that draws your desire into manifestation. Ultimately, the power of imagination reveals a profound truth. You are not a victim of fate or environment. You are the sovereign ruler of your experience, endowed with the divine capacity to shape your destiny through the conscious use of your mind. Imagination is the key that unlocks this power. When you understand and apply this principle, you no longer chase after dreams, but embody them, living as the creator of your life, fully aware of the sacred force within you that is continually bringing forth new reality. This is not a theory or philosophy, it is a law as certain and unyielding as gravity. It is the truth spoken in the language of the soul, accessible to all who choose to recognize and wield the power within their own imagination. In this recognition lies your freedom, your mastery, and your boundless potential. Your imagination is God walking within you, ready to manifest your dreams into living reality. To persistently assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the very essence of manifestation, the golden thread that weaves your inner world into the fabric of your outer reality. This assumption is not a fleeting thought or a passing hope. It is a sustained, living experience that you carry with you as a state of consciousness. When you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you step beyond the realm of possibility into the certainty of reality. This is the alchemy by which the imagined becomes tangible. The invisible becomes visible. The mind, when focused on a particular state, impresses that state upon the subconscious, which in turn broadcasts this inner reality outward, influencing the conditions and events of your life. But the mind is not changed by mere words or intellectual acknowledgement. It responds to feeling, to the emotional conviction that a thing is true here and now. Therefore, it is not enough to simply say, I want to be successful, or I will be loved. You must feel the success and love as present facts, immersing yourself in the sensations and emotions that accompany that fulfilled desire. This feeling is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. It is the energy that sets the wheels of creation in motion. Without it, your thoughts remain barren, like seeds cast upon barren soil. With it, your inner world is fertile, alive, and ready to bring forth its fruit. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the foundation upon which the entire edifice of your new reality is built. It must be so vivid and convincing that it becomes your dominant consciousness, overshadowing any doubt, fear, or contrary evidence presented by the senses. To cultivate this feeling is to practice living in the end. What does it mean to live in the end? It means to live mentally and emotionally in the state that would exist if your desire were already achieved. If your desire is wealth, then feel the security, freedom, and joy that wealth brings. If it is health, feel the vitality and strength coursing through your body. If it is love, feel the warmth, acceptance, and joy of being truly loved. In this practice, you are not concerned with the how or when of your desire's appearance. You are concerned only with the what, the state of its fulfillment. The persistence of this feeling is what differentiates a fleeting fantasy from a powerful act of creation. The world is filled with dreamers who briefly entertain visions of a better life, but quickly return to the reality of lack, doubt, and limitation. These momentary escapes are powerless because they lack continuity and emotional commitment. To truly manifest, one must return to the feeling state repeatedly, making it the lodestone of the mind, the place where the imagination settles and dwells. Persistence requires discipline. It requires that you guard your thoughts and feelings vigilantly, refusing to entertain ideas that contradict your assumed state. It means that when circumstances or news seem to contradict your desire, you do not waver or despair, but return immediately to the feeling of the fulfilled wish. This is not denial of reality, but a higher reality, one rooted in the creative power of consciousness itself. You choose to believe in the reality that serves your highest good, regardless of current appearances. This steady assumption becomes a kind of spiritual practice, a daily meditation in which you anchor yourself in the reality you wish to see. It shapes your subconscious mind, which then acts as a faithful servant, orchestrating the events, people, and opportunities that will bring your imagined world into being. Your outer world cannot help but reflect the inner reality you persist in living and feeling. Moreover, the feeling of the wish fulfilled creates a magnetic attraction. Light attracts light, and your emotional state sends out a vibration that draws similar energies into your life. By persistently assuming the fulfilled state, you become a beacon for circumstances and experiences that correspond to that state. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the energy you embody. This is why feeling is paramount. It is the language through which your consciousness communicates with the unseen forces that shape your reality. In practical terms, persistence in the feeling state means returning to your imagined scene several times a day, especially before sleep and upon waking, when the subconscious mind is most receptive. It means embodying the attitudes, actions, and thoughts of the person who already enjoys the fulfillment of the desire. This inner consistency aligns your entire being with the outcome, removing internal contradictions that might otherwise delay or prevent manifestation. Eventually, this persistence transforms your identity. You cease to see yourself as someone waiting for change and become the person who lives in the reality of the fulfilled desire. This shift in self-concept is profound because it reprograms your subconscious to operate from the new assumption. The subconscious mind accepts as truth whatever you consistently impress upon it through feeling and imagination. When your self-image aligns with your desire, external circumstances must conform to that image. The world is not a fixed place, but a reflection of your consciousness. To change your world, therefore, you must persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it dominates your consciousness. This is the practical art of manifestation. It is a process of inner transformation that brings about external change. To master it is to master your life. In all things, persistence in the feeling of fulfillment is the secret power. Without it, desires remain dreams. With it, dreams become reality. This is the unchanging law that governs the creative act within you. By embracing it, you take your place as a conscious creator, shaping your destiny with unwavering faith and vivid imagination. Faith in the unseen is the cornerstone of all creation, the invisible thread that binds your inner world to the outer reality you seek to manifest. It is not mere hope or wishful thinking, but a profound certainty that what you desire already exists in the realm beyond the senses. This faith is the unseen conviction, the deep knowing that allows you to hold fast to the reality of your desire, even when the physical world seems to contradict it. Without this faith, the creative process falters. With it, mountains move and realities shift. To understand faith is to understand that the senses only reveal what is already manifest, a snapshot of the present moment's condition. They cannot show what is coming into being, what is yet to be revealed. The world of form lags behind the world of consciousness. Faith bridges that gap. It is the recognition that your inner assumption, your imagined state, is the true reality, even if your eyes cannot yet perceive it. This recognition changes everything. It reorients your mind away from the evidence of lack or limitation and toward the promise of fulfillment. Faith acts as a lens through which you view all circumstances. Instead of interpreting challenges as proof of failure, you see them as temporary conditions, irrelevant to the ultimate truth of your fulfilled desire. You learn to perceive your goal as a present fact, not a future possibility. This shift in perception is powerful because it realigns your energy, your thoughts, and your emotions with the outcome you seek. When you align your entire being with the belief that your desire is already yours, you activate the creative forces within you. This alignment is not passive. Faith requires action, not necessarily physical movement, but the action of the mind and heart in steadfast belief and feeling. You act as though the unseen is already present, living as if your desire is fulfilled. This living faith is a state of being that permeates your thoughts, words, and deeds. It becomes the lens through which you interpret reality, coloring every experience with the certainty of your desire's fulfillment. One of the greatest challenges is maintaining faith when appearances seem contrary. The senses can be loud and convincing, presenting obstacles and delays that test your resolve. Yet faith demands that you look beyond these apparent contradictions. It calls you to hold your vision steady, to trust in the invisible workings of your imagination and the unseen laws of creation. This trust is not blind, it is born from understanding the principle that consciousness creates reality. The external world simply reflects the dominant state of your inner consciousness. Faith in the unseen also liberates you from the tyranny of time. When you believe that your desire is already fulfilled, you transcend the linear progression of past, present, and future. You exist in the eternal now, where your wish lives as a completed reality. Time becomes a tool rather than a barrier. Manifestation unfolds naturally in perfect timing, orchestrated by the intelligence of your sustained faith. This faith is cultivated through repetition and reinforcement. You immerse yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, returning to it often until it becomes a dominant reality within you. Through this practice, doubt and fear lose their grip. The mind grows accustomed to the new state, and the subconscious mind begins to accept it as true. The unseen then begins to reshape the seen, and your external world transforms accordingly. The power of faith in the unseen is perhaps most evident in the way it changes your emotional life. Instead of anxiety, impatience, or despair, you experience peace, joy, and confidence. These emotions are indicators that your consciousness is aligned with the reality you desire. They serve as internal evidence that your faith is active and effective. The cultivation of these feelings strengthens your creative power and hastens the manifestation process. Faith also fosters resilience. When setbacks occur, those grounded in faith do not crumble but reaffirm their inner assumption. They know that setbacks are temporary and do not reflect the final outcome. This resilience is a critical component of successful manifestation because it keeps you anchored in your creative vision, despite external turbulence. Moreover, faith connects you to a universal intelligence, a greater power that supports your creative effort. It opens you to guidance, inspiration, and synchronicities that align with your desire. When you believe in the unseen, you create a space for miracles to enter your life. This connection is the divine partnership in creation, where your imagination and the intelligence of the universe work in harmony to bring forth your dreams. In practical terms, nurturing faith involves daily practices of visualization, affirmation, and emotional engagement with your desire. It means repeatedly impressing upon your consciousness the reality of your fulfilled wish and feeling that reality as vividly as you can. It means trusting the process even when the outer world seems slow to respond. The persistence of faith, combined with vivid imagination and feeling, creates an unstoppable force that reshapes your experience. In essence, faith in the unseen is the sacred trust that your inner world is the true reality, and that through this trust, you hold the key to manifesting your desires. It transforms the unknown from a place of fear into a realm of creative potential. It is the unseen seed from which all miracles grow, the invisible flame that burns bright within the heart of every fulfilled desire. To cultivate this faith is to awaken the creative power that lies dormant within you, waiting only for your recognition to bring forth the life you imagine. Your outer reality is but a mirror reflecting the dominant state of your inner consciousness. This is a principle so fundamental and yet so transformative that understanding it can completely alter how you perceive life and your role within it. The world you experience around you is not random or fixed. It is the direct manifestation of your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. To change your world, you must first change your inner state. This truth is the key to mastery over your experience and the foundation for all intentional creation. Every event, every circumstance, and every relationship in your life corresponds to a vibration within your consciousness. This vibration is created by your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs combined. When you consistently entertain a particular idea or assumption, you give it life within your subconscious, which then acts as a magnet, attracting experiences and conditions that match that inner reality. Your outer world is simply the visible expression of your inner world, made manifest. Many struggle with this concept because it challenges the common belief that external events control their feelings or that circumstances are immutable. The truth is quite the opposite. Your inner world shapes how you interpret and ultimately experience the outer world. It is not the world changing your feelings. It is your feelings changing your world. This reversal of perception is empowering because it places the responsibility for change squarely within your own hands, where it belongs. The senses, by their nature, report what is currently happening, but do not determine your future. They show you a snapshot of the present, but your imagination and consciousness are the forces that paint the next frames of your life's movie. When you recognize that your assumptions shape your experiences, you can begin to consciously select the assumptions that serve your highest good. You can discard limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering assumptions that open doors and create new possibilities. This shift requires intentionality and awareness. It demands that you become vigilant over your thoughts and feelings, monitoring the quality of your inner conversation. Are you assuming lack, failure, or limitation? Or are you assuming abundance, success, and joy? Your dominant assumptions form the blueprint for your life's unfolding. When you choose assumptions of growth, prosperity, and love, your outer reality begins to reflect these qualities. The process of aligning your outer world with your inner assumptions involves persistent mental and emotional discipline. You must persist in the assumption long enough for it to solidify within your subconscious mind. This means repeatedly returning to the imagined state of your fulfilled desire, feeling it with sincerity and detail. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is imagined vividly and what is physically experienced. It accepts the dominant state of consciousness as true. By consistently impressing the subconscious with the desired assumption, you set into motion the creative forces that will manifest that assumption in physical form. The outer world responds as a faithful reflection, rearranging itself to match your inner state. People, circumstances, and opportunities begin to appear that correspond to your new belief system. This is not coincidence, but the natural result of the law that consciousness precedes form. Understanding this law invites a deep sense of personal responsibility and empowerment. It means you are not at the mercy of external conditions or other people's actions. You are the author of your experience, capable of rewriting the story of your life by changing your assumptions. This realization frees you from victimhood and opens the door to conscious creation. It is important to recognize that change in the outer world may not be instantaneous. The subconscious mind works gradually, weaving new patterns into the fabric of your life. Persistence in your inner state is essential. Do not be discouraged by apparent contradictions or delay. They are often necessary steps in the unfolding process, providing opportunities for you to strengthen your faith and refine your assumptions. In practical terms, aligning your outer world with your inner assumptions involves daily practices such as visualization, affirmation, and emotional engagement with your desired reality. These practices help you to maintain focus and conviction, reinforcing the new assumptions until they become your dominant consciousness. Over time, the external world will shift to mirror the reality you hold within. This understanding transforms how you approach challenges and setbacks. Instead of seeing them as insurmountable obstacles, you view them as signals that your inner assumptions may need adjustment or reaffirmation. You learn to return to the feeling of your fulfilled desire, reaffirming your belief in the reality you wish to create. This process strengthens your mastery over your consciousness and accelerates manifestation. Ultimately, your outer reality is a faithful servant of your inner world. By changing your assumptions, you change the world. This principle is a powerful tool for transformation, available to anyone willing to take responsibility for their thoughts and feelings. It reveals the profound truth that the power to create the life you desire lies not in external circumstances, but within your own mind and heart. When you fully grasp the law of assumption, you begin to understand that your identity is not fixed or predetermined by past experiences or external circumstances. Instead, it is fluid and malleable, shaped continuously by the assumptions you hold in your consciousness. The reshaping of your identity is the most profound and powerful tool you have for manifesting your dream life, because the self you assume becomes the self you live and express. This transformation is the gateway through which desires move from the realm of imagination into tangible reality. Identity is far more than just who you think you are superficially. It is the sum total of your beliefs, feelings, and habitual thoughts about yourself. These elements form a mental blueprint that directs your actions, reactions, and expectations. When you assume a new identity, you are effectively rewriting this blueprint. For example, if you imagine yourself as successful, confident, and deserving of abundance, your entire mental framework begins to shift to support this new self-concept. Your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors align with the person you have chosen to be, creating a powerful resonance that draws matching circumstances into your life. This process of reshaping identity requires conscious and deliberate effort. It is not enough to desire external changes. You must first become the person who naturally embodies those changes. This means cultivating the inner state that corresponds with your desires, living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled as if it were your present reality. The identity you assume must feel authentic and believable to your consciousness. For the subconscious mind accepts as truth whatever you consistently impress upon it through feeling and imagination. When you consistently embody the assumed identity, the subconscious mind reprograms itself accordingly. It begins to reject old self-concepts and limitations that no longer serve your new reality. This internal shift is the foundation for lasting change. Your outer world then reflects this transformation as your actions and choices begin to emanate from your new self-image. Opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with this identity naturally flow into your life. It is essential to recognize that this reshaping of identity is a gradual unfolding rather than an instantaneous event. The subconscious mind requires repetition and persistence to fully accept new assumptions. Therefore, it is important to return often to the imagined state of your fulfilled desire, feeling the emotions and embodying the qualities of your new identity until it becomes your dominant state of being. This practice strengthens the new mental blueprint and accelerates the manifestation process. By consciously choosing a new self-image, you rewrite the narrative of your life, freeing yourself from limiting patterns. This freedom empowers you to step into a life of greater fulfillment and joy. Moreover, this reshaped identity becomes a lens through which you perceive reality. You begin to interpret experiences and events in ways that support your new self-concept. Challenges become opportunities for growth, setbacks become lessons, and success becomes the natural expectation. This shift in perception enhances your creative power as your consciousness no longer dwells on limitation but focuses on expansion and possibility. The law of assumption teaches that you are not merely changing external conditions but fundamentally transforming who you are. This deeper change is more powerful and enduring because it addresses the root cause of your experience, your identity. When your self-image aligns with your desires, manifestation becomes effortless because you are living in harmony with your true nature. To harness this power, cultivate daily practices that reinforce your assumed identity. Visualization, affirmations, and emotional engagement with your desired state help to embed the new self-concept within your subconscious. Act as though you already embody the qualities you seek, and your behavior will follow suit. Over time, this alignment between identity and desire becomes seamless. In this way, the law of assumption reshapes your identity and, through it, your entire life. It invites you to become the person who naturally attracts and lives the reality you desire. This is the essence of conscious creation, the ability to mold not only your circumstances, but the very core of your being, unlocking the door to a life of limitless potential and fulfillment. Throughout this journey of understanding, it becomes clear that the power to create the life you desire lies within the depths of your own consciousness. Imagination is not merely a fanciful escape, but the divine instrument through which reality is shaped. By persistently assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, holding unwavering faith in the unseen, and recognizing that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state, you begin to rewrite the very identity through which you experience life. This transformation is the essence of conscious creation, living as the person who already possesses their desires, feeling it deeply and allowing the world to respond accordingly. When you embrace these truths and embody them with discipline and conviction, you step into the role of the master of your destiny, able to manifest your dreams effortlessly and live the life you have always imagined.